In the previous lectures of NMR spectroscopy, we have discussed the appearance of proton magnetic resonance spectrum. We saw what is meant by spin-spin splitting or spin-spin coupling. We have explained the spin-spin splitting or coupling based on the n+1 rule. I have explained the reason for the spin-spin splitting or spin-spin coupling. After this, we saw specific examples to understand the spin-spin coupling or spin-spin splitting. We have seen what are AB type of protons, AX type of protons and AMX type of protons. For that we have seen several examples. I have explained them pictorially also. The spin-spin splitting is explained by me pictorially how the doublets, triplets, quadrets and pentets are appearing. All these things we have discussed. And we have seen how the protons of furan 2 aldehyde, they show a AMX type of coupling. Now, in this class, we shall see a few more aspects of the proton magnetic resonance spectrum. See, first we shall see what is meant by proton exchange in NMR spectroscopy. It can also be called as a reaction, proton exchange reactions. See, this reaction or this phenomenon, proton exchange phenomenon is observed in some special class of organic compounds. Let us consider a simple example, ethyl alcohol. Ethyl alcohol contains a methyl proton, methylene proton and OH proton. So ethyl alcohol, if the sample is pure, then what will be the chemical shift value? You will get chemical shift values for 3 protons, methyl protons, methylene protons and OH protons. So we have 3 types of protons and we will get 3 signals. If we get 3 signals, what will be the spin-spin splitting? See, CH3, CH2OH, methyl proton, 3 protons. These 3 protons has 2 neighbors. So automatically this will appear as a triplet because it has 2 neighbors. The OH proton, it has only one, it has 2 neighbors, the methylene protons. So this will also appear as a triplet. The methyl protons, they will give you a triplet, and the OH proton, it has 2 neighbors, they will also give you a triplet. This is the signal. What about the pattern of the signal that is for the methylene proton? So here you have 2 methylene protons, the neighbors is 3. As a result, we will get a 4-line signal first, and each line is further split. See, you have one more neighbor. So in total, we will get 8 lines for these methylene protons. Do you understand the reason? See, the methyl proton CH2, it has 3 neighbors, 3 methyl protons. So first this is splitting the methyl protons into 4 lines according to the n plus 1 rule. We have n neighbors, 3 plus 1, 4 lines. Again, each line is split into 2 lines by the OH. So 2 into 4, 8 lines. So the 8 lines will appear as a multiplet. We will get a 8-line signal. This is the pattern for the NMR signals if ethyl alcohol is recorded for its NMR spectrum under pure conditions, 100% pure conditions. So the sample should be 100% pure. If you record the NMR spectrum for 100% pure ethyl alcohol, you will get the signals according to the spin-spin splitting pattern or coupling pattern. Suppose if the sample is impure, suppose if it is contaminated with a drop of sulfuric acid will be giving you a source, is a source of H plus ions. So if the ethyl alcohol is not 100% pure, it may have any acidic impurity, H plus. If it has any acidic impurities, then what happens? See, if you record the NMR spectrum for ethyl alcohol which is not 100% pure, or if you add just a drop of sulfuric acid or any acidic impurity to the compound, then what happens? See, the OH proton is labile. The H proton is released to the solvent medium and the impurity proton comes to this place. This is simply represented by ROH plus ROH star. This is a proton from another molecule. This is a proton of one alcohol. So the sample is impure. In such a case, the H plus impurity, it will exchange, this will come to this place. This will come to another molecule, that will go to another molecule. So this is called as the proton exchange or chemical exchange reaction. So as a result of this, what happens? See, this is the identified proton. So you have the identified proton in the first molecule and the second molecule is not having the identified proton. The proton is exchanged. So such a exchange is called as proton exchange or chemical exchange in NMR spectroscopy. What happens because of this proton exchange or chemical exchange in the NMR spectrum of ethyl alcohol? That is very important. See, the spin-spin splitting pattern or coupling pattern is due to the presence of neighbors. So the nuclei should see the neighbors in different environments. Then only the spin-spin splitting or coupling will occur. CH3 proton is stable, it is not exchanged. So the signal for the methyl proton will appear as a triplet as usual, because you have the methylene proton, 2 neighbors. But the OH proton signal will not appear. You will not get a triplet because the hydrogen is frequently exchanged. So, because of the frequent exchange, the OH signal will not appear. And apart from this one, the methylene protons, you have CH2, which originally gave us 8 lines. Now it will couple with the methyl protons. So this will appear as a triplet, quadret. This will appear as a quadret, 4 lines, and each line, in this case, it is split into 2 lines, so we got 8 lines. Now here, because of the frequent exchange of the OH proton, the quadret is not split into 4 lines further. So you will get a triplet and quadret and no signal for the OH proton if you record the PMR spectrum for ethyl alcohol under impure conditions. Let me explain once again. CH3, CH2OH. Ethyl alcohol has 3 types of protons. If the OH group, if the sample is impure, if it carries any acidic impurities, then the protons are exchanged between different molecules of the alcohols. Protons of the OH group, they are highly labile. They are frequently exchanged between all the molecules of alcohol. So as a result of this, what happens? We notice some change in the spin-spin splitting pattern or coupling pattern. How it affects the frequent exchange of the OH proton? It affects the spin-spin splitting pattern or coupling pattern. See, this will appear as a triplet because it has 2 neighbors. You will not get any signal for this proton because it is frequently exchanged. The NMR instrument cannot detect the protons because it is frequently exchanged. Only the time averaged environment is found. As a result, these protons cannot see the protons in 2 different situations. So we get a quadret only. Each line is not split by these protons into 2 lines. So this is the observed signals and their pattern for the PMR spectrum of ethanol under impure conditions. Already we have seen the time average environment when we discuss about the NMR spectrum factors influencing in the chemical shift values due to restricted rotations. You may remember this example, the NMR spectrum of dibromoethane. We have different conformations. See, this is a conformation of dibromoethane. This is your eclipsed conformation. And similarly, we can draw the staggered conformations for the molecule, namely 1,2-dibromoethane. This is your staggered conformations. Eclipsed staggered conformations for the molecules of 1,2-dibromoethane. This is from our knowledge of stereochemistry, we can easily understand. So, the protons are in different situations. See, this proton is very close to the bromine. Here, this proton is far away from the bromine. So, the chemical shift values will be different. But the rotation of the carbon-carbon sigma bond is so frequent. As a result of the frequent rotation of the carbon-carbon sigma bond, the NMR instrument is not able to detect the different positions or situations of the proton, different environments of the proton. This is called as your time average environment. I have explained it with the help of the uncertainty principle also. Uncertainty principle, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle of our quantum mechanics is highly useful in explaining the situation in NMR spectroscopy or in explaining the time average environment in NMR spectroscopy. So what is this uncertainty principle? Delta X, delta P is approximately equal to h by 2 pi. This is your position and this is your momentum. So according to uncertainty principle, if you want to fix the position, then you can make use of the uncertainty principle. Delta x dot delta b, that is equal to h by 2 pi. This is the uncertainty principle. This is the uncertainty in fixing the position as well as the momentum of a object, whatever it may be. It may be an electron or it may be a single particle. We have studied all these things in our particle in one-dimensional box in our quantum mechanics. The same principle is applied here. Here we modify the uncertainty principle and we say that delta t, delta nu, that is the frequency. That is the frequency is indicating the position. Delta t, time factor. It is a derivative of, from time factor only we derive the momentum. So delta t, delta x is approximately h by 2 pi or 1 by 2 pi. So time is related with the frequency in NMR spectroscopy. If you want to fix the chemical shift value or the frequency of absorption of a proton in NMR spectroscopy, then the proton should remain in the place for a sufficiently longer time. See, this is one situation. This is a different situation. The hydrogen is very close to the bromine in the eclipsed conformation. Staggered conformation. One of the hydrogens is close to bromine. I can draw one more structure also. So in all these structures, this hydrogen is close to a bromine or this hydrogen is close to a bromine. So the eclipsed conformation is different from the staggered conformation according to the conformation analysis. But it is not detected by the NMR instrument because this proton is remaining in this place for a longer time. It changes into this one so frequently. If this is rotated, then you will get the eclipsed conformation, rotation in this direction, the CC axis. So the NMR instrument is able to detect the time averaged environment only. If the nuclei stays in one position for a sufficiently longer time, the time of residence we can say, the time taken for the nuclei to reside in one place, if it is longer, then the spin-spin coupling is observed. Here, we don't observe the spin-spin coupling with these protons because this proton is frequently exchanged with the solvent as well as with the other alcohol molecules. So, because of the frequent exchange, the NMR instrument is not able to detect this proton in two different environments. As a result, the coupling is not observed. The coupling between this one and the coupling of these protons with this one is not observed. So, this is called as the proton exchange reaction or chemical exchange in NMR spectroscopy. See, we will discuss once again this time averaged environment or proton exchange or chemical exchange in another situation. That is when we discuss about the use of the heteronuclear coupling in NMR spectroscopy. For example, if a proton is coupled with deuterium, deuterium is also a magnetically active nuclei. Spin value for proton is I is equal to half. For deuterium, spin value I is equal to 1. So it will have three different orientations. Nuclei will have three different orientations. When we discuss about the deuterium hydrogen coupling, we will see once again how the time average environment and everything is observed in NMR spectroscopy. So please remember what is meant by this proton exchange or chemical exchange. Proton exchange or chemical exchange is observed in molecules which are having the labile protons. That means the protons which can be exchanged easily. Ethyl alcohol is one example. CH3, CH2OH. In ethyl alcohol, we have 3 types of protons. So, if you record the NMR spectrum for the pure sample of ethyl alcohol, then we get 3 types of protons and 3 signals for the 3 types of protons. How do we get the spin-spin splitting pattern? The methyl proton gives you a triplet because of 2 neighbors. The OH proton gives you a triplet because of 2 neighbors. And the methylene proton, CH2 proton, gives you a 8-line signal. The reason is, the 3 protons split the methylene protons into 4 lines first. Again, the 4 lines are further split into 2 lines each by the OH protons. So 4 into 2, 8 lines are observed for the methylene protons. If you record the NMR spectrum for ethyl alcohol under pure conditions. See, if the same compound is recorded for its NMR spectrum under impure conditions, or if you add a drop of sulfuric acid, it will give you a H plus ion. Under such situations, the protons are exchanged. The protons of the OH group, they are so labile. I can explain the, see, ROH, RO minus H plus. Such an ionization is possible. Because of such ionization, the proton is exchanged. See, this is the labeled hydrogen. It is exchanged. So now, because of the frequent exchange, the signals for the protons of ethyl alcohol, so this pattern, this will show you a triplet, no signal for the OH protons, and you will get a quartet for the methylene proton. No splitting, no further splitting for the methylene protons. The quartet is not split into 8 lines. The reason is, the proton is not staying in one molecule for a sufficiently longer time. So the NMR instrument is seeing the time average environment, which is explained by me in the previous lecture also by the ancillary principle. We have seen one example also for the restricted rotations, that is the protons of 1,2-dibromoethane. So the OH proton is not staying in one molecule for a sufficiently longer time. Because of the frequent exchange, the coupling of the OH protons with these methyl protons and the coupling of the methyl protons with the OH proton is not observed. As a result, for the impure sample of ethyl alcohol, you are getting 2 signals, a triplet for the methyl protons and a quartet for the methylene protons, and no signal for the OH protons. So this is due to the proton exchange or chemical exchange in NMR spectroscopy. Now let us move to the next important aspect in NMR spectroscopy. See, already I have explained you what is coupling constant. Coupling constant is the difference in chemical shift value in terms of frequency. See, we have proton A, HB. Now, because of HB proton, the signal for HA is split into, originally it is appearing as a single line. Because of HA proton, it appears as a 2-line signal. The signal for HB proton, it is also appearing as a 2-line signal because you have only one neighbor. So this is called as your singlet, called as your doublet. Suppose if you have 2 neighbors, then you will have a triplet in the intensity ratio 1:2:1. So all these things we have discussed. And I explained what is meant by the coupling constant value. This is also an important parameter, just like your integral constant. which gives you the number, which gives you an idea about the number of protons which are giving the signal. So the coupling constant value indicated by the symbol J, that is also important. What is this J value? Suppose if this is your NMR scale, then this is your chemical shift value, higher value delta 1, delta 2. The difference in the chemical shift value is delta 1 minus delta 2. So this can be converted into frequency. Chemical shift value is a derived unit. It is derived from the frequency of the sample minus frequency of TMS divided by oscillator frequency into 10 to the power 6. That is the expression for our chemical shift value. So once again, if you know the difference of chemical shift value or the chemical shift value, you can calculate the frequency of absorption. So the difference in the frequency of absorption between the two peaks is called as your coupling constant J value. From this, you can easily identify whether the coupling is between the protons of the neighboring environment. Which are the protons involved in the coupling? Now, we have seen the different types of couplings. See, you have a methyl group, a methylene group like this. The protons are attached to the same position, same carbon. This is your germinal protons. And suppose if the protons are attached to this place, like this, we have two carbons on adjacent carbons. This is your vicinal protons. You understand what is a germinal proton and what is a vicinal proton. Suppose if you have a carbon-carbon double bond like this. Suppose if you have a proton, then this is your vinyl proton. And you have a group like this. This is your allylic position. Suppose if you have a proton in this place, this is your allyl proton or allylic position. This one is your allylic position, allyl proton. And if you have protons in the aromatic ring, suppose if it is monosubstituted, then you have orthoprotons, metaprotons, paraprotons. Ortho, meta, para. Here also you have meta, ortho. So these are the different protons. If it is monosubstituted or disubstituted, if it is disubstituted, then we have different positions. Ortho disubstitution or meta disubstitution or para disubstitution. Para disubstitution means it is more symmetrical. The situation is more symmetrical. Ortho disubstitution also leads to more symmetrical situation. The remaining 4 protons can be divided into 2 equal sets. 2 protons in environment and another 2 protons in another environment. If it is symmetrically disubstituted, ortho disubstituted or para disubstituted. So in all these cases, the coupling of the protons vary. And it is also influenced by the substituents that is present, the substituents and its electronegativity. See, we have discussed various factors which are influencing the chemical shift value. And all the factors that can influence the chemical shift value of protons in PMR spectroscopy can also be applied here. So because of all those factors, the protons, their coupling and their chemical shift values, their coupling constant values, all of them can be influenced. So they are all the factors which are influencing the coupling constant value J in PMR spectroscopy. The coupling constant value J is very important in PMR spectroscopy. From the coupling constant value, you can easily identify the protons that are involved in the coupling, and from that you can easily identify the position of the protons in the organic molecule, and from that you are able to get some useful information about the structure of the molecule. See, the first important factor that is influencing the chemical shift value is your electronegativity. So the electronegativity of the substituents is very important. It is able to influence. As a result, the germinal protons can be influenced. So in more or less, in most of the molecules, almost 99%, the protons HA, this is also HA protons based on the environment, germinal protons. The HA and HA dash, this is your HA, HB, different protons in vicinal protons. So HA and HA dash, they are in an identical chemical environment, but due to stereochemical positions, the two protons may slightly differ, just like our axial and equatorial protons of cyclohexane, conformational isomers. So in such cases, they may differ in their chemical shift value, and it is very rarely observed. The coupling between the germinal protons, they are in an identical environment, but the coupling is observed under very rare situations. Coming to the vicinal protons, the protons are present in different environments, so automatically it depends on the substituent that is present. If the electronegativity of the substituent is different, then the coupling will differ and the J values will be different. We can calculate from that, from the chemical shift values, we can identify whether the coupling is because of vicinal coupling or germinal coupling. See, the vicinal coupling values, it is observed in the range say 0 to 12 Hertz. That is normally observed, 0 to 12 Hertz. Vicinal coupling is observed. And in the case of alkenes, vinyl protons, whether the coupling is between cis and trans isomers. So cis-trans isomers. Cis-trans isomerism in the coupling of protons in alkenes. Alkenes are having a carbon-carbon double bond. So you have vinyl protons. So whether it is a cis isomer or trans isomer, depending on the cis and trans isomer, we have the coupling. And coming to the allyl protons, the coupling of the allylic proton with the alkene protons, that is also a possibility. So the chemical shift value for the allylic proton is the coupling constant value, J value is noted in the range is 0 to 2 Hertz. 0 to 2 Hertz. And for the aromatic coupling, the coupling is observed between ortho, meta and para protons. So the chemical shift value is J value is 7 to 10 Hertz. So this is for the aromatic protons. So in general, we have discussed about the coupling of protons in NMR spectroscopy and the coupling constant values or J values. Coming to the factors that are influencing the vicinal protons, it is very important note to relate the dihedral angle between the two vicinal protons or the two CH bonds. So the vicinal coupling is influenced by the electronegativity of the substituents attached to it. In addition to that, the coupling between the two CH protons is depending on the dihedral angle between them. The coupling constant value is given by an equation called as Karplus equation. Car plus, this is the man who proposed this equation. In his name, it is called as car plus equations. This is discussed in William Kemp. So this is an information connected with the vicinal coupling and the factors which are influencing the vicinal coupling. Go to page number 124, Organic Spectroscopy by William Kemp. There this equation is discussed. Car plus equation. Suppose if the angle between pi or the angle between the two CH groups is 0 degree and 90 degree, then the coupling constant value is given by J vicinal is equal to 8.5 cos square phi, that is the angle, minus 0.28. If the angle, dihedral angle, see, this is the angle, CH, CH. So what is the angle? And what is this angle? If you represent them in the form of a plane, so what is the angle? Here it is, if the two CH groups are in the same plane, then the angle is 0 degree. If they are in the opposite side, the angle is 180 degree. If they are mutually perpendicular, if they are in different planes, if this one is in a plane and this one is in a different plane, so the angle is determining the vicinal coupling. So the coupling constant value between the vicinal protons is given by the dihedral angle. If the angle is between 0 and 90 degree, then it is given by the equation. The coupling constant value for the vicinal coupling, J vicinal, is given by 8.5 cos square phi minus 0.28. Phi is the angle between them. Suppose if the dihedral angle is between 90 degree and 100 degree, then the coupling constant value is given by J vicinal is equal to 9.5 cos square phi minus 0.28. So if the dihedral angle is between 90 degree and 100 degree. So this is the graphical representation is also available in figure 3.23. You can refer page number 124, William Kemp. So if the dihedral angle is between 0 and 90 degree, what about 180 degree? 180 degree is more or less equal to 0 degree. Only thing is, the two CH groups are in the opposite direction in the same plane. We can say they are transcoplanar, just like our cis and trans isomers. In the alkenes, if the alkene protons are on the same side, we call it as cis. And if the alkene substituents are on the opposite side, identical substituents, we call the isomers as trans. They are in the same plane, but they are in the opposite direction in trans isomers. So we can say trans isomers or transcoplanar. So when the dihedral angle is between 0 and 90 degree, the vicinal coupling is given by this equation. If the dihedral angle between the two CH groups is 90 degree and 100 degree, then it is given by 9.5 cos square phi minus 0.28. So the coupling constant values are very large. If the two CH groups are showing an angle very close to 0 degree or 180 degree, that is also observed. So if they are ciscoplanar or transcoplanar, then the dihedral angle, then the coupling constant value J vicinal is the maximum. So this is also observed in Cyclohexanes, various conformations of cyclohexanes. The diaxial protons, it is a vicinal proton. Cyclohexane molecule has a structure like this. These are the different conformations. See, this is a axial, equatorial, and this is a axial. Equatorial proton is here, H axial. Or we can consider in this way. See, axial, H axial. So, what is the vicinal coupling constant between the diaxial protons? It is the maximum, and the diaxial coupling constant J vicinal is noted around 10 to 13 Hertz. So, this is an important factor connected with the coupling constant values. So, coupling constant value is also very important in NMR spectroscopy. It is an important parameter. In PMR spectroscopy, if you have the data, you should have the data. If you have the data, then you are able to identify the protons which are involved in the coupling. So, once again, let me explain what is meant by coupling constant value. See, we know that the protons which are present in an identical environment, they give you a signal in NMR spectroscopy. If you don't have a neighbor for the protons, then the signal for a particular proton appears as a singlet. Suppose if we have one neighbor, then the proton signal is split into two lines. It is called as a doublet. Similarly, for HB, if HA is only one neighbor, then the signal is split into a two-line signal. Suppose if we have more than one proton, if we have a CH2 proton, two protons of HB, then the signal for HA is split into a triplet. The intensity ratio is 1:2:1. And the n plus 1 rule is applied. If we have n neighbors, then the signal for a proton is split into n plus 1 lines. Now, what is the difference? If this is the chemical shift value scale, then the middle of the peak, that gives you the difference in the chemical shift value. If this is delta 1 and if this is delta 2, delta 1, delta 2, the difference in chemical shift value is delta 1 minus delta 2. Since the chemical shift value is a derived unit from the frequency of absorption, it is given by the expression delta is equal to frequency of the sample minus frequency of the TMS divided by oscillator frequency into 10 to the power 6 parts per million. So, you can convert it back. You can calculate and you can convert it and you can express the coupling constant value in terms of frequency. So, J value, coupling constant value is expressed in terms of frequency only. See, if you consider the protons which are involved in the coupling, then the protons are different type. Your germinal protons, that is protons attached to the same carbon in a methylene group or in a methylene envelope, two protons are attached to the same carbon. So, they are called as germinal protons. Protons present in adjacent carbon, they are called as vicinal protons. And we have vinyl protons, cis and trans isomers, alkenes, protons attached to a carbon. We have cis protons and trans protons. And you have allyl protons, carbon attached to a carbon-carbon double bond is called as the allyl carbon. Protons attached to that carbon is called as the allyl carbon. This is the allylic position. And the aromatic protons. So, as usual, when we discuss about the factors influencing the chemical shift value, electronegativity is an important factor. Anisotropic shielding and de-shielding effects are also operating and they are also affecting the chemical shift values. The same factors are affecting the coupling constant values, J also. So, in the case of germinal protons, the electronegativity effect also plays, but the protons are attached to the same carbon, so they are present in the same environment. The coupling between the germinal protons is rarely observed. Under some special cases only, where stereochemical factors are playing an important role, we notice the coupling between germinal protons. Coming to the vicinal protons, the vicinal protons are also influenced by the chemical shift value, influenced by the electronegativity of the substituent, and the other factors are also playing an important role, anisotropic effects. So because of this, the vicinal protons are showing a coupling constant value from 0 to 12 Hertz. Just now we saw the Corpus equation. Vicinal proton coupling is influenced by the dihedral angle between the two CH groups. See, this is one CH group, this is one CH group, vicinal protons. What is the angle between the two CH bonds? That is called as the dihedral angle. If the angle is between 0 and 90 degree, then we make use of this equation to calculate the coupling constant value, 8.5 cos square theta minus 0.28. If the dihedral angle is between 90 degree and 100 degree, then we use this equation for calculating the coupling constant value for the vicinal protons. J vicinal is equal to 9.5 cos square phi. Phi is the dihedral angle, minus 0.28. So it is very clear that if the angle is 0 degree or 180 degree, that means a coplanar situation. When the angle is 0 degree, they are present in the same plane. We can call it a cis coplanar. When the angle is very close to 180 degree, we can say that the two CH groups are in the same plane, but they are in the opposite direction. So this is called a transcoplanar situation. So it is clearly observed the vicinal coupling between the axial protons of cyclohexane. It is observed clearly, and the value is very close to 10 to 13 Hertz. It is observed in the range, say 10 to 13 Hertz. So this is about the vicinal coupling. And coming to the coupling between the protons of a alkene and allylic protons. The allylic coupling is also observed, and the range is 0 to 2 Hertz for the allylic protons. And for the aromatic protons, if the aromatic ring is monosubstituted, then we have different positions. If it is disubstituted, then it leads to further complication. Disubstitution may be symmetrical disubstitution or unsymmetrical disubstitution. So depending on the situation, we have different types of protons, namely orthoprotons, metaprotons, and paraprotons. Suppose if it is symmetrically para-disubstituted X and X, then we have two sets of protons only, HCa, HB. So these two protons are identical and these two protons are identical. Suppose if it is ortho-substituted, then these two protons are identical, these two protons are identical, ortho-disubstitute. Suppose instead of X here, if we have Y, these two protons are identical, these two protons are identical. If both are X, then all the four protons are identical and you will get only one signal. So you get a multiplet for the aromatic protons, and from the pattern of the multiplet we are able to say whether the aromatic protons are due to the coupling between symmetrical disubstitution or unsymmetrical disubstitution or monosubstitution. So in this way we are getting useful information from the coupling constant value of the protons in PMR spectroscopy. In the next class, we shall discuss about the coupling of protons with other nuclei which are NMR active. The other nuclei which are NMR active are called as the heteroatoms, that is atoms other than hydrogen. We have C13, F19, P31, N15, deuterium, isotopic labeling, deuterium. Deuterium is an isotope having a spin value I is equal to 1. So how the coupling between hydrogen and deuterium is observed? Hydrogen and C13, hydrogen and F19, P31, hydrogen and N15. So all these things we have to discuss. This is called as the coupling of protons with heteroatoms. The next lecture is also very important. Please listen. You should have a good understanding over the next lecture also. Then only you can thoroughly understand the PMR, or in general we can say the NMR spectroscopy. Let us meet in the next lecture.